everyone, and welcome back to Farmer Joe Homesteading. Today we're going to be talking about what we're doing to keep our animals fed this fall and give you another fun farm update. The goat herd ran out of pasture, so they have been ran down over to this, and the footage from that is actually quite entertaining, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys that. They are definitely loving this pasture, and they will stay here until the feed runs out. The girls happen to leave their babies behind, and they are sound asleep, napping on the other side of the homestead and ignoring their mothers completely. There is lots for them to eat in here. There is not page wire though, it's all barbed wire all the way around, but the whole perimeter where there's barbed wire is got really tall, thick grass around it. So they'd have to eat through the perimeter to get out of the fence. So I expect them to be able to be in here for at least a week. We'll see how long it takes for them to munch all this grass. Big Mama here is still in milk and is still giving us quite a bit. So we're still milking her every other morning, and she's doing really well with that schedule. So we're gonna stick to it. Big Mama did not end up kidding this year. So the plan is actually to breed her on her first heat of the fall, because that tends to be that really strong heat. It would give us February babies, but if she's the only one that's going to kid in February, and I know when her date was that she bred, I'm actually I'm confident that we can make that work with the shelter that we have. So I'm going to breed her on that first really strong heat, and then the rest of the girls will wait a little longer. We're planning on breeding the older girls all for March, and the first timers all for April. So I'm hoping that that works out. We have a lot of first timers, so I'm thinking that that would just be a little bit easier for everybody. Our boys are doing really, really well. They are definitely starting to stink, especially with Mr. Finnick. Finnick is a little bit older than Buddy, so he is definitely starting to get into the rut a little bit. They're starting to smell real ripe, and I haven't noticed the girls cycling, but I have a feeling it'll be anytime soon. Usually once the bucks start rutting and smelling real rosy, that's when the girls will come into heat. The feed for our animals in the fall changes quite a bit. Goats have been extra spoiled, so we went ahead and moved them to a new pasture twice in the last week because we are completely running out. The drought has completely dried off all of our pastures, and they are looking pretty miserable right now. So With the pastures completely dried up, we have been having to improvise. We had the goats down in front of the barn for about a week, and then they ran out of grass down there, so we've actually moved them onto a hay field with permission from my father-in-law to have them clean up that a little bit before winter sets in. So they're going to be going back and forth to this hay field and back to the shelter for nighttime, to try and drag out as much as we can until we need to feed them hay, because of the drought, hay is limited and we don't want to have to start feeding hay a month early. The feed for our animals in the fall changes quite a bit. As the cooler nights start rolling in, the animals definitely seem to need quite a few more calories during the day to help them keep warm in the night. So I have been keeping up with the feed, making sure that they have plenty and making sure that they are getting what they need to make sure that they stay in good body condition as we get into winter, because we never know what kind of winter we're going to get. The chicken flocks. We do have some news and some updates on our chicken flocks. The first thing is, I have noticed that a lot of our chickens are a little bit snotty and have been coughing and sneezing a lot. Now, our air quality has not been great all summer. We've been on, off, sucked in with smoke, and then plus combined with the super hot summer days we've had, it has been pretty rough on the respiratory system for just even us, let alone these birds that have to be out here all day long. So it doesn't surprise me that our girls are needing a little extra boost. So I went ahead and I bought them some poultry Nutrident. I've also bought another supplement to try giving them in their water to see if it makes a difference and just gives them the little boost they need as we come into fall. It's a pretty simple solution, and you just add it to their water. It does make their water look brown because it has molasses in it, so it does make the water appear a bit murky, but they all seem to be liking it just like everything else and eating really well. So the chickens are getting our homegrown oats and barley. They are getting poultry grower. And then I'm also giving them some cracked corn and black oil sunflower seeds. And that gets spread out for them on the ground for them to pick at. And they pick at that kind of throughout the day. And then they tend to still go out and free range, which is wonderful. So they're still finding some grasshoppers and some other insects, as well as they go through the hay from the goats, and so they're still finding plenty free ranging, but that's what we're feeding the chickens right now, and they're getting a little bit more feed now that the days are getting a little bit colder. So my other thing to talk about with the chickens is we have quite a few girls that are actually molting. We have some that have already finished that are finally regrowing their feathers, and some that are just starting. And I've noticed it in the turkeys as well. There's quite a few girls that are looking pretty scarce, and some that I've noticed are finally growing back all those feathers from before. So definitely hitting molting season, which is really good because last year they didn't molt until November, and then I had a lot of bald birds when it was really cold. It was -20. So really thankful that the girls are molting now instead of late when they're gonna be too cold. All right, guys, now on to the hutches and some rabbit news. So with the rabbits, Livy did end up kindling. It was an absolute surprise. I didn't think she was going to, because she didn't look like she had gained any weight. She ended up having 12, which is more than she has ever had before. They are all really healthy and growing really well, so I am really impressed with her. She has done absolutely amazing. In a perfect situation, I would have given some of the kits to another doe that didn't have as many, but she happened to be the only one who kindled at that time, so she is raising all 12, and I don't have the heart to get rid of a few to make it easier for her, so we are just making sure that she has food 24/7 and lots of water, and she seems to be doing really well. This is her last batch before winter, so after this batch of bunnies, she's gonna have a couple months off, and then we'll try again and rebreed her end of February for some March kits. Amber's kits are getting close to weaning. They are 7 weeks old, and we did rebreed her last week as well. Other does we rebred, we actually bred our little Opal. She is now come of age, all of those girls have, and so we went ahead and bred her to Houdini, and we are really looking forward to that litter. We also have our Ermine doe and Kada to breed. Those two didn't want to, they were just not feeling it, so I've given them another week. I'm hoping to retry today. I did end up giving Kada some ivermectin because she just seemed to have a bit of an upset tummy, and so that seems to have completely cleared up, and she's doing really well again. And the little Ermine doe is doing well as well, so I've been giving them some apple cider vinegar in their water, and I am hoping that that will do the trick and we can get all of these does bred, because this will be the last time that we have kits. This will be the last breeding for 2023. We still have an entire pen of bunnies that are ready to be butchered. We had some things come up and we were unable to get them processed, so that is the plan for this upcoming week, is to get some bunnies processed. The goose flock is also doing well. We haven't had any eggs now for quite a long time, but that is okay. It's end of season. The girls have finished their molt as well, so they're actually looking really good and really clean. So I'm really excited about that. They should go into winter nice and healthy, just as always. So a couple of weeks ago when I did a farm update, I mentioned to you guys that we had an issue with the turkeys. We had a mama hen that had passed away and all of those little chicks, I think there was 14. We ended up finding a weasel on our front lawn that I'm not sure if the cat got it, the dogs, or one of the birds, but it was a dead weasel, so we're pretty sure that that is what killed the mama turkey and all those babies. So unfortunately, of all the predators that we can keep our animals safe from, weasels is one of the things that are just extremely hard. We didn't lose a single rabbit though, so that weasel was only able to get our mama turkey and her chicks that were out in the bush. It was not able to infiltrate into our coops at night, and it couldn't get into our rabbit hutches. So that is a relief to know that our animals are safe at night from things like that. But it was unfortunate to lose another turkey hen and all of those babies. All right, guys, that is it that we have for this week's farm update. Thank you so much for sticking around, and make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We try to get a video up every single Friday for you guys to see what is going on here on the homestead, because it is always changing. We hope to see you guys next time.